Picture this. It's a quiet Sunday, you're scrolling on your phone, and a thought crosses your mind. How many super accounts do I actually have? If you've ever changed jobs, moved house, or worked a casual gig in your 20s, there might be retirement money out there with your name on it that you've simply forgotten. Right now, Australians are collectively holding $17.8 billion in lost and unclaimed super. And some of that could be yours. And here's the reassuring part first. If this is you, it's not a failure on your part. The system genuinely doesn't make this easy to see. The ATO reports this lost super is spread across around 7 million accounts as at the 30th of June 2024. That's millions of everyday workers just like you with money that isn't growing for them. Today, I'll walk you through 3 simple moves to fix it. Find every account, consolidate the lost ones, and lock it in with a yearly health check. Here's the number that reframes everything. More than $17.8 billion in lost and unclaimed super, according to the ATO as at 30 June 2024. But here's the part most people miss. This isn't the government's money or some abstract pool. It's yours. It's sitting in accounts that have simply lost contact with you. And the only reason it stays lost is that most people never check. In a moment, I'll show you exactly how to see yours. So here's your plan, and the best part is every step is free. First, find every super account in your name. Second, consolidate the lost ones into a single fund. Third, run the ATO's super health check every year to keep it that way. Each move takes you under 20 minutes. You could genuinely do all 3 before dinner tonight. So how does your super get lost in the first place? The ATO marks super as lost when a fund can no longer reach you because you changed jobs, moved house, or never updated your details, or when an account goes inactive and drops below certain thresholds. When that happens, your balance doesn't automatically roll into your main fund. It just sits there, often stuck in low engagement default settings, quietly disconnected from the life you're actually living. And if that sounds like it could be you, you're in very good company. Let me show you what that disconnection actually costs you, and I'll run it 3 ways so you can find yourself in the numbers. Treasury data puts the typical lost balance at around $2,950. If you've got a small forgotten account earning maybe 2% versus 6% in your main fund, over 30 years the foregone growth is roughly $17,000. On the lower end, a smaller balance might be a few thousand in lost growth. If you've got a larger forgotten account, you could be leaving $25,000 or more on the table. Either way, it's your retirement money not working for you. Now here's where it gets genuinely important. Because a forgotten account isn't just sitting still, it's slowly leaking. When super sits in a small, inactive account, it can still be charged administration fees and default insurance premiums you never see, quietly shrinking the balance. Treasury describes this as money languishing in forgotten accounts. And because outdated contact details make it hard for funds to confirm contributions, some of your super can even fail to reach the right fund at all. Let me show you how fast that adds up. Here's why the timing matters. That fee drag compounds. If you're carrying 2 forgotten accounts of around $2,950 each, charging roughly $100 a year combined, over 30 years, the fees alone reach $3,000 before you even count the growth that money never earned. And this doesn't magically stop at retirement. The ATO is currently holding $471 million in unclaimed super for people aged 65 and over. Every year you leave it, the cost quietly grows. Now here's the belief that keeps most people frozen. The idea that your fund or the government will automatically sort this out, so you don't need to do anything. I understand why you'd think that, but here's the reality. The ATO has reunited about $6.4 billion since 2021, and yet more than $17.8 billion is still waiting to be found. That money stays lost until you log in, search and claim it yourself. The good news is that's exactly what I'm about to show you how to do. Put the two numbers side by side and the scale really lands. There's $17.8 billion in lost and unclaimed capital, and on top of that, Treasury says Australians are leaving $21.5 billion in unclaimed super earnings languishing in forgotten accounts. That's not just lost money, it's lost growth on lost money, compounding against you year after year. But here's the encouraging flip side. The same compounding works for you the moment you reclaim it. Let me make this real, because numbers this big can feel abstract. Meet Sarah. She's 38, a retail manager earning $72,000 a year, with $85,000 in one industry super fund and 27 years until retirement. She's worked in hospitality and retail since she was 20, changing employers constantly and moving house more than once. If that pattern sounds a bit like yours, pay close attention. Because here's what Sarah found when she finally looked. Discovery 1. $3,000. Logging into ATO online services through MyGov, Sarah found a forgotten account from a casual job a decade ago, almost exactly the typical lost balance Treasury reports. Left earning 2%, it crawls to about $5,100 by 65. Moved into her main fund at 6%, it could reach around $17,000. That's roughly $12,000 of difference, riding on a single click. And that was just the first thing she found. Discovery 2 came from a layer she'd never thought about: the fees. That lost account had been quietly charging her $90 a year in combined admin and default insurance. Over the past 10 years, that's eaten roughly $900 of her money, exactly the kind of erosion Treasury warns about. Leave it another 27 years, and the fees alone add another $2,430, before you even count the growth those dollars never earned. Discovery 3 was the one Sarah never expected. Running the ATO's super health check, she found the ATO was holding $1,000 of unclaimed super in her name, and that contributions from one old employer had never even reached her current fund. Left sitting idle with the ATO, that $1,000 earns nothing. Transferred into her fund at 6%, it could grow to about $4,800 by 65. Little amounts, quietly transforming when you finally move them. Now let me be honest with you about the numbers, because I want you to trust these figures. Just by reclaiming that $3,000 account and the $1,000 the ATO was holding, and letting them compound in her main fund for 27 years, Sarah is looking at roughly $16,800 more in retirement. And I'll be upfront, that's a conservative slice. If you've got two forgotten accounts and decades of fee drag, the combined lifetime cost can reach $40,000 to $50,000. This is general information, not personal advice, so run your own numbers. So could this genuinely be you? Here are 3 quick signs. 1, you've changed jobs and never consolidated your accounts. 2, you honestly don't know how many super accounts are in your name right now. 3, you haven't updated your address with an old fund. If even one of those rings true, some of that $17.8 billion could have your name on it. And here's exactly how to find out. So let's actually do this together. 3 moves, all free. Each one takes minutes. And by the end, you'll know precisely where your super stands. Move 1. Find every super account in your name, because you can't reclaim what you can't see. Log into MyGov, link it to the ATO, then open the super section and choose Fund Details. It shows you every account you hold, including anything flagged as lost or unclaimed, plus any amounts the ATO is holding for you. Honestly, this is one of the most useful screens in your entire financial life, and most people have never once opened it. Here are your 3 quick steps. Log into MyGov and link it to the ATO. Go to the Super section and select Fund Details. Then review each listed account, noting the balances and whether any are flagged as lost or held by the ATO. What good looks like for you? one active fund, and no lost or ATO held amount staring back at you. Move 2. Consolidate. Once you can see your accounts, pull the lost and inactive ones into a single chosen fund using the transfer function in ATO online services or your main funds portal. Now here's the honest catch most people skip. Before you close any account, check whether it holds insurance you actually need, because closing it cancels that cover. If you rely on that insurance, sort a replacement first. Done right, every dollar lands in one fund, fees charged once, all of it working for you. 3 steps here. In the Super section, select the option to transfer Super. Choose your preferred active fund as the destination. Then submit a transfer request for each lost or inactive account, checking any insurance first, as we just covered. What good looks like for you? Every balance showing up in one main fund, with no small residual or duplicate accounts left behind. Move 3 keeps it that way, the ATO's free 5-step Super Health Check, once a year. Think of this as the maintenance move. It confirms your contact details are current so funds can actually reach you, checks that your employer contributions really landed, and flags any lost or multiple accounts before they quietly pile up again. It's a yearly service for your retirement, and it takes about the length of a coffee break. 3 steps, once a year. Confirm and update your contact details so your fund can reach you. Check your balances and employer contributions against your payslips. Then run the Lost Super search and consolidate anything new that's turned up. What good looks like for you? Details current, contributions landing, and 0 accounts flagged as lost. Here's why acting now genuinely matters. Since 2021, the ATO has reunited almost $6.4 billion with owners. Real progress. But by the 30th of June 2024, lost and unclaimed super had still climbed past $17.8 billion, up roughly $4 billion since 2021, and in 2025, Treasury flagged $21.5 billion in unclaimed earnings and brought in new payday super laws so super is paid alongside your wages. The point is simple. The system is still creating lost accounts faster than it cleans them up, so the sooner you check, the better. Once you've acted, let's make sure it actually worked. You should now see one active fund in MyGov with no lost flags. Confirm the balances you transferred have genuinely arrived in your chosen fund. And don't panic if it takes a few days. That's normal. And if insurance mattered to you, double-check the cover carried over before any old account was closed. That's your peace of mind locked in. Every figure here comes straight from the ATO, Treasury, Super Consumers Australia, and Accountants Daily. All the links are below the video, so you can verify each number yourself and dig deeper whenever you like. If you've made it this far, you now know how to find, consolidate, and protect your super from that $17.8 billion pile. Something most people in your situation never get around to. The next step is simple. Log into MyGov tonight and check your fund details. It takes about 10 minutes. And if you want to go deeper, here's the question worth asking next. Is your MySuper default fund quietly failing the performance test? That's exactly what we unpack next. So once your accounts are consolidated, you can make sure the fund holding them is actually pulling its weight. I'm Alex. I'll see you there.